Happy Valentine's Day slash Galentine's Day weekend. Welcome to a little get ready with me and Q&A. I'm really excited to film this video because I haven't done one of these in pretty much, I think it's been almost a year since I've done one of these. I'm pretty sure the last Q&A and get ready with me that I did was back in March of last year. It was getting ready for a job interview for my current job actually. So it has been quite a long time and I'm really excited. Today we are getting ready for a Galentine's party. My friend Genevieve is hosting a little Galentine's Day sleepover and I wanted to do a fun little Galentine's makeup look, and I thought it would be the perfect time to film a little get ready with me and answer some questions for you guys as well at the same time. So that's what we're getting ready for. I just blow dried my hair and I did a blowout. I'm gonna preface this by saying by the time I'm done with my makeup, my hair will not look this good. But for right now, I have never been able to do a blowout before. And look at it, it worked. I have been, you all know, if you've been on my channel for a long time, you guys know. My hair and I beef so much. We just don't get along, my hair and I. So, oh my God, for it to have worked, even if it won't stay, even if I know it won't stay, even for it to just look like this right now is just honestly a small miracle. So I'm finally figuring out how to use my Shark Flex style that I've had since college. This is what I'm hoping my hair is gonna look like for the entire night, but it definitely won't. It's definitely gonna fall out, but it looks like this for right now, so it's fine. For makeup, because it's gonna be a little Galentine's party, we are obviously doing something pink, and I'm gonna be wearing a little red dress, so it's just gonna be really fun and cutie and festive. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I had you guys ask me a bunch of questions over on my Instagram. If you don't already follow me over on Instagram, it's always linked down in the description. You should definitely go follow me over there. If I'm doing a Q&A, that is where I'll get all my questions. I'll occasionally do them here on YouTube, but most of the time I do them on my Instagram stories. So if you don't want to miss the next Q&A, make sure you head over there. But I've got all the questions here on my phone and I'm just gonna be scrolling through and picking them out at random while I do my makeup and get ready. So the first question that I got is, what do you miss most about Maine besides being close to your family? Honestly, it's kind of funny that you included the besides being close to family little caveat, because that is the thing that I miss most about being in Maine, is being close to my family. I love being down here in DC and I love having my own place and just I don't know, starting my big girl life, but I really do miss my family and I miss being close to them, because there have been a couple times where it would be really helpful to just be able to go to my parents' house and talk things through in person, or have family members close where you could literally just drive to their house, or they could drive to my apartment, or they could meet me somewhere. It's definitely something that I didn't really think about in as much detail as I probably should have, but it's okay. I'm glad to be living in the era where everyone is just a FaceTime call or a text message away. Other than being close to my family though, what do I miss most about Maine? You know what? This is kind of a random answer, but I really miss the Fort Williams Lighthouse. It's literally my favorite place on planet Earth. It's so peaceful and serene, and there have been so many times where I'm oh, I want to go on a walk or go, see the sunset or something, and I would love to go do that in Maine, at that lighthouse, because it was not that far away from my house. I desperately want to be a beach person, but I'm kind of not a beach person. So in theory, I feel I miss the beaches. Kind of going off of that, a lot of people were asking how I'm liking DC and if I'm still enjoying living here, and the answer is absolutely yes. DC has been so fun. It's such a cool place to live. If you guys are new here, or if you didn't know, I've been living in Washington, DC for just about a year now, a little bit over 1 year, I think, since I moved in, and I really like it. It's so different than the town that I grew up in. I grew up in a really small town where you couldn't walk anywhere, nothing was in walking distance, you had to drive everywhere, there wasn't really a lot going on most of the time, and I knew pretty much I've known my entire life that I always wanted to be somewhere where there's always something going on, there's always things to do and places to see and activities and that kind of stuff, and DC is such a wonderful city for that kind of stuff. There's always something going on. There's so many museums and all the Smithsonians and monuments, and there's so much history here. There's just always something to do, and also a lot of it is free, which is really cool. All the Smithsonian, not all, but most of the Smithsonians are free, so that's really cool. And I find that I'm not bored here, which is really nice, because I would get bored back home a lot. But this year, now that I'm fully settled in and I feel I'm not new so much anymore, I feel I want to spend more time exploring the city and doing some of the things that I didn't get to do last year, because I felt I was just trying to get settled in. But overall, I love DC. I've been having a great time since living here. A couple of people asked what my favorite things to do are in DC. So like I mentioned, all the monuments and the museums are really, really fun because there's so many of them. I've been to the Natural History Museum a bunch of times since I've lived here, and that one is always fun. Like there's always something new to see. There's always stuff going on. Even if you're not like a huge history person, it's still really, really cool. That's probably one of my favorite museums. My other favorite museum is the Air and Space Museum. My gosh, it's so cool. The only difference with that one is that you need to make a reservation ahead of time for a time slot that you would go. It's still free, but you just need to like sign up for a certain time that you're going to be there. So if you're coming and visiting DC and you're looking for things to do, the Air and Space Museum would be a great option. You just need to like plan ahead a little bit, whereas with some of the other museums, you can kind of like just show up. Obviously, the National Mall is really, really cool. Just like walking around, you can walk from the Capitol to the Washington Monument all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial, which is really pretty. There's so many things to do in DC. Something that you should do if you get the chance is going up to the old post office tower. That is really, really cool. You get like a 360-degree view of the city. Again, it's free. I've done that before and would highly recommend it. It's super fun. Okay, I'm gonna be leaving my concealer kind of the way that it is right now. I know it's not blended in, but I like to let it sit so that I can blend it in later because I found that that makes it crease less. So I'm just gonna be looking a little bit insane for the next couple of minutes. While that sits, we are going to get started on my eyeshadow. Like I said, we are going to be doing a pink look. I'm really excited because I haven't done pink in a long time. I've been sticking mostly with my neutrals, but a Galentine's Day party is the perfect time to get back into the pink vibe. Somebody asked if I'm still considering moving down to North Carolina after I'm like done in DC. Like would I ever go to Charlotte or Raleigh like I talked about before I moved down here? Honestly, that's been something that I've been thinking about a lot recently because I like want to live in a bunch of different places that I've never lived before. Like I want to experience all of the things that I can before I like settle down permanently somewhere. So in a perfect world where I could just go wherever I want and do whatever I want and live wherever I want, I would still love to live in North Carolina at some point, either in Raleigh or in Charlotte. But the reality is I have to consider jobs, and where I'm at right now, I love my job. Like I would not want to leave my job right now. I just have such a great job. Like I love my job so much. I'm so lucky to have it. Like I really kind of feel like I struck gold with this job. And as excited as I would be to like go out into the world and find other places to live and try out different cities, like I would have to give up my job to do that. And right now with the job market the way it is, like it's just kind of especially nice to have a job that I love in a place that I love. Like I feel like especially as a young person, like that's pretty rare. So as much as I would love to explore other cities and live in other places, like before I settle down, that would be like a really, really big life change and like a really big decision for me, and something that I honestly like do not want to do right now. So in the future, like I'm not ruling it out that I would ever go to those places because like I said, I really would like to, but not like in any time in the near future, just because like I said, I really do like my job and I like where I'm at and I like my city and I like this just whole area. Like the vibes right now are really good. That's actually the perfect segue because I also got a lot of questions about jobs, like my big girl job, and people kind of asking for advice about jobs. One person asked for my best advice for someone who's about to start her first big girl job. I'm trying to think like what advice would I give myself when I was right about to start. I would say treat everything like a learning opportunity. Like go into it kind of the way that you thought about school if you went to school. Like if you were in college before getting your big girl job, kind of treat it like that, where it's like you're going in to learn as much as you possibly can. I know for me, I have learned so much at both of the jobs that I've had since college. I was really able to like learn as much as possible because I really tried my best to like treat everything as a learning opportunity and like take every opportunity that I can to learn from people in the industry who have more life experience and use their life lessons for myself as well, if that makes sense. I would also say this applies to interviews as well as once you have the job. Yes, your job will be evaluating you for performance and like making sure that you're doing all of, you know, like your responsibilities and getting everything done that you need to be doing. So like, yes, your job is going to be evaluating you you, but at the same time, make sure that you're also evaluating your job and getting the things that you need out of it. Like, are you enjoying your time? Are you feeling like you fit in with the team? Do you feel like you have a good work-life balance? Are you getting the right type of instruction that you feel like you need? Do you feel like you have mentors that you can go to and ask questions if you need to, or anything like that? Because that's also important to know, like, as you're kind of settling in and deciding, like, is this somewhere that you see yourself staying long term, or is this just something that might end up being a stepping stone for you? So I would say that's probably a big piece of advice that I would give you, is like, remember that yes, you're there to do a job, but you're also there to advance your own career and learn everything that you can. And like, you want to feel like it's a two-way street. Like, they're getting obviously work from you, and you want to be getting something out of it as well. And I feel like that way you'll be less likely maybe to feel like the 9-to-5 grind that wears you down. If you can get excited about your job and there are things that you really look forward to, that makes it easier to like get up at 6 a.m. every morning and go into work Monday through Friday, you know? Someone asks if I think I'm ever going to quit my 9-to-5 job and do content full time. This is always such an interesting question, because I always know exactly how I'm feeling, and like, I know what I mean so much when I say what my answer is going to be, but I feel like it's hard to articulate. At this moment in my life, and like for the next couple of years, honestly, I do not see myself wanting to do content full time. As much as I love making videos and I love making content, I think it's so fun, I just don't think it would be sustainable for me to do it full time. I think I would end up getting really burnt out. I think my creative spark would like die really pretty much instantly, especially because for me, my content is so much about like what I'm doing in my day-to-day life, and my content is supposed to be kind of like documenting what's going on in my life. And honestly, like when I was in college, the main thing that I was doing in my life was college. Now that I'm in, you know, like corporate America and I have a 9-to-5 job, like the main thing that I'm doing during the week is going to my job. So even though like, yes, I do have a lot of projects that I'm working on outside of work, I don't feel like I would ever want them to be my full-time job, just because I always want my content to be like fun and kind of like hobby style, if that makes sense, even though it's so much more than a hobby. But I feel like if I were to make it my full-time job, I would just get, I don't know, like it would take the fun out of it. So probably not. I would probably never, at least right now, I probably would never want to quit my job and go full-time with content, especially because, like I said, I really like my job. Okay, we are finally gonna go in and blend my concealer so I stop looking like I've got little concealer polka dots on my face. Also, my hair is holding up pretty well, which I'm pretty impressed with. To kind of add on to that question though, I do think at some point, like, it's going to get hard to balance all the things that I want to do content-wise with having a full-time job. So that's probably gonna be a conversation that I'm gonna have with myself down the road. Like, I'm already about to add a podcast and I'm so excited about that, but I am getting like a little bit concerned for my free time. Like, I keep doing these things in my free time, like outside of work, and I'm starting to run out of free time. So I don't know what that would mean, if I would need to like have a team or kind of like pass some of the responsibilities off onto other people, kind of like building it more into a business rather than just like a hobby. I don't know, it's interesting because it's not something that I ever want to stop doing, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think I want it to be full time, at least not yet. All right, we are going to lock the concealer in place. Okay, going off of that, a lot of people were asking about the podcast, and I'm so excited that you guys are so excited because I am also extremely excited about the podcast. I cannot wait for launch. So a lot of people were asking like what topics I'm gonna be talking about on the podcast and when it's gonna be starting. So I don't wanna give away too much information because I do want it to be a little bit of a surprise. And I am filming like a behind the scenes video on like launching the podcast that'll be going up soon. What I will tell you is it's not going to be like a standard podcast format. I'm not gonna have like super long, like hour-long chatty episodes. It's gonna be a little bit more like specific, I guess. Like each episode is just going to focus on one topic, and it's not really gonna be like a chatty, just what's ever on my mind podcast. I feel like I've seen a lot of those, and I prefer, when I listen to podcasts, I prefer the content style that I'm hoping to do on mine, where it's like shorter episodes that focus on a specific topic. So that's kind of going to be the format of the podcast. It's going to be those shorter episodes that really just dial in on one specific topic per episode. The actual topics that I talk about are probably going to follow a similar theme to what I talk about here on YouTube. I want it to be like super bright, positive, like motivational and inspirational. So that is definitely the vibe that I'm going for. And I feel like that's kind of my forte. Like that's what I enjoy making. That's the content that I enjoy creating. That's the content that I enjoy consuming from other people as well. So that's kind of like a sneak peek about what the podcast is going to kind of cover and the format that it's going to be in. For launch date, it's coming within the next couple of months. Like it will be coming in the springtime, which is honestly perfect. Like once you guys see the like behind the scenes launch video and I kind of reveal like title and like, you know, the background for it, like you'll understand why I wanted to launch in the spring. But yeah, we're going for a spring launch like in the next couple of months. I'm so excited. I will obviously, why is this getting everywhere? Oh my goodness. I will obviously be sharing more with you guys like as we get closer. I'll share the launch date, I'll share the social media for it, all of that good stuff. So stay tuned, more information is coming soon. But like I said, I'm really excited that you guys are excited because I'm so excited to launch the podcast, but I'm also like kind of nervous because I don't know like how many people are actually gonna want to listen to it and like if it's gonna, like if the audience from YouTube is gonna transfer over. So it's very reassuring to hear that you guys are excited for the podcast as well. The next question is from Indy. So hi Indy, thank you for asking a question. Indy wants to know what it's like living alone. I love living alone. This apartment is my first big girl apartment. I live here by myself. It's a 1-bedroom. This is my first time living by myself and quite honestly, I love it. I really don't know if I'll ever go back to living with roommates. I'm definitely a social person. Like I love seeing my friends. I love hanging out with people. I even like to host, like I've hosted a couple gatherings here at this apartment, but I am definitely the type of person who enjoys being on my own at the end of the night. Like I recharge my social batteries by being by myself, and obviously living alone, like I get to do that. So that's really nice. I will say sometimes I miss having people like roommates around to be able to just like go out into the living room and be like, hey, let's all watch a movie, you know? Like kind of the one drawback, I guess you could say, of living alone is that if you want to see people, you kind of always have to schedule it in advance. It's harder, I guess, to be spontaneous and have like spontaneous like friend events. Like back in college when I lived with my roommates, sometimes we would all just end up in the kitchen together and like chit chat while one of us was making dinner. So sometimes I miss that type of relationship where you can kind of just have somebody around to hang out with, even if you're not actually doing anything, like someone that's just kind of around at the same time. But other than that, I really like living alone. I think it is just the perfect situation for me, especially with YouTube. I don't ever have to feel like I'm bothering anybody by having my camera out. Like I can be wherever I need to be, in my living room, in my bedroom, in the bathroom, wherever. I don't have to worry that I'm like bothering anyone else by like having the camera out. Okay, there we go. There are the eyes all done. That is the main thing. I don't really do a ton of makeup outside of that. We're just gonna do a little bit of blush. Next up, somebody asked, how do you cope with negative emotions on your bad days? I've always been a big like escapism person. Whenever I'm feeling upset or sad or really anything, like I will immediately go to movies, TV shows, books, or really just like any type of story to kind of distract myself and get my mind off of it. So I will always go for like a comfort show or a comfort movie if I'm not feeling well, like if I'm not feeling good. Scooby-Doo is a typical go-to for me. It has been since I was a kid. It's like my ultimate comfort show. If I'm feeling bad, like emotionally or physically, like if I don't feel well, if I feel sick, I'll be watching Scooby-Doo. I tend to watch a lot of like kids shows, I think. Like I'll watch a lot of animated TV or animated movies, like old Disney movies, that kind of stuff. Just because for me, it's just ultimate like comfort. And I find that in kids media, I really like that the problems are so digestible and like usually the problems get solved instantly. It's like, oh no, you know, a zombie robbing the bank, and then you take the mask off and it's like, no, it's just the evil banker trying to steal money, you know? Like I like that there are simple problems and simple solutions in kids media because it makes it feel easier for me to like tackle my own problems. But I also want to say that like everyone has bad days. Everybody has negative emotions. Like, everybody just feels bad sometimes. I think it's so easy to get caught up in social media and not remember that, like, social media is a highlight reel. Like, people are posting about their best days and their best moments, and they kind of tend to leave out the bad stuff because no one really wants to have the spotlight on them when they're having a bad time. So always remember that too. Like, even if you go watch your favorite content creators to help you, like, escape from whatever problems you're having, like, I do that too. I would go on YouTube and watch other content creators and kind of like get out of my own reality for a while. And that's so great. Like I said, I do the same thing. But also don't forget, like, you're watching video after video of the people posting their best selves in their best lighting with their best camera, you know? Like, just never forget that everybody has bad days. Like, everyone struggles with things that they talk about and don't talk about. So you're never alone in feeling upset or feeling bad or having bad days or having negative emotions. And I would highly encourage you, if it's a persistent issue, to talk to someone you trust and someone you love. I mentioned a couple times, like, when I was in college, I was seeing a therapist. Like, I've been in therapy a couple different times in my life, and it's so helpful. So if you have the means, speaking to a therapist or speaking to a counselor can be really, really helpful, even if it's just for a couple of weeks, just someone who is completely removed from the situation and can kind of help you process whatever you're going through, even if it's something that you don't feel like should be a big deal. So I'm a huge advocate for, like, mental health services and therapy if it's something that you can have access to. Like, it's a really great resource. All right, we are wrapping up. I just need to do my highlighter and then my mascara. So we are gonna do one last question. I always put on this highlighter and then I always regret it because it feels like a lot, but oh well. Lastly, a lot of people were wondering about my love life and if I'm in a relationship, how dating is in DC, if I have a boyfriend, all of that good stuff. And quite honestly, I love you guys for asking these questions. Like, I really love your faith in me. I love how devoted you are, but I'm sorry to disappoint that the answer is no. I do not have a boyfriend. I am not in a relationship. Dating in DC is kind of difficult, especially because I despise dating apps, so I'm really, like, not on them, which is kind of like the main way that people are dating these days, is on dating apps. I said this in my 2025 reset vlog also. I don't really make my, like, relationship status or my romantic life, my love life public, and I do that on purpose just because it can be, like, a lot to get the public involved in your relationship, and I would never want to, like, subject someone to, like, the internet's opinions if that's not something they wanted. So I don't really give you guys specifics about my love life, or, like, if I'm going on dates or anything. I don't really talk about that on the vlog or on my social media, and I do that on purpose. I share so much of my life, but that's just an aspect of my life that I don't really want to be sharing too much of right now. Maybe someday in the future, but for now, I don't share a lot of that stuff, and I don't really have plans to share more of that stuff just because it's such a, like, personal and, like, private aspect of my life. And obviously, like, once you're in a relationship, it's not really just your life anymore, it's also the other person's life. And I would never want another person to feel, like, obligated to share any of their own personal, like, details or anything about their personal life because I do online, you know? But again, it's kind of a non-issue right now because no, I'm not dating anyone. But there we go. We are all set with my Galentine's party makeup. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. This is such a nostalgic makeup look for me because this is how I used to do my makeup for sorority recruitment. I was in Gamma Phi Beta in college, if you didn't know, and one of our colors was pink, so I would always do pink makeup like this for sorority rush. But there we go. That is the completed look, and the hair actually kind of stayed, which is honestly a miracle. This is the dress that I'm gonna be wearing. The theme of the party is, like, silk PJs, so I just got this little silk nightgown from Amazon. I'm not gonna be putting this on camera, so this is all you're gonna be seeing of the dress. So that is gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to everyone that asked me questions for this Q&A. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it for me down below and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would love to have you join the family. I hope you all had a wonderful Valentine's Day, and if you're also celebrating Galentine's, I hope you have a wonderful Galentine's as well. But that's gonna be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.